save time and save money, this is going to be the topic of the next discussion. We are going to welcome Andra Willems, Ultimate Kronos Group Director of Strategic Alliances EMEA, and Gábor Majoros from SAP Hungary, HR Cloud Sales Manager. The global market leader of time management and shift planning helps you streamline, unify, and automate processes for hourly and salaried employees. It analyzes data in real time to provide in-the-moment insights to make decisions that impact your business and your people. Please welcome on stage Andre and Gábor.
Just let me have a short introduction. So my name is Gábor Majoros from SAP Hungary. And we have our strategic partner in the time and attendance and the shift planning space, which is the Ultimate Kronos Group. And we have a colleague, Andre Willems, and he will present this very natured, best-in-class solution. Just let me say some words about the relationship in between SAP and the UKG group. SAP is well known here in Hungary. We have a regional headquarters here in Hungary, and we lead our SAP aim is to really lead the market with the best solutions in each and every space of the HR. Not only the HR, but also in the HR. I'm responsible only for the HR cloud here in Hungary. And within the HR cloud, we have everything to build up very robust, very innovative HR. Time and attendance and shift planning is part of our portfolio. But in this space, we created a strategic relationship with UKG, which is really the most innovative player in the time and attendance and the shift planning market globally. So UKG doesn't have any office here in Hungary, but SAP as their strategic partner, we really offer it to the Hungarian market. We support it. So we are here and we can also implement it through SAP partners. And this is really the first time that we would like to introduce it to Hungary, because we are really investing on this market, and we would like to really show that UKG and this really matured solution is now available to the Hungarian market. So let me introduce Andre from UKG, and Andre can give more insight on this.
Sure, happy to do that. Can you hear me well? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, Gábor, first of all, thanks so much for this introduction. I think it's well said. Welcome everybody to this session about optimizing your workforce. I'm joining you from the Netherlands. In the current circumstances, I think all of us are kind of stuck at home, including us here in the Netherlands, and I guess most of you in Hungary. But the good thing is, this is a great way how we can still connect virtually, of course, in the current situation. And it gives a lot of new dimensions to virtual events like this on Hopin. So I'm happy to join you. And in the next, I think, 25 minutes, I would like to give you a very short, intro overview of, as Gábor mentioned, workforce management and how that relates to SAP, but also in case you would not use an SAP HR system or anything else as a core HR system, this can be linked or integrated with what I'm going to talk to you about in the next 25 minutes. So it's not only relevant for SAP customers, but we do have a strategic partnership with SAP, which I'll come back to later on. My name is Andre Willems. As Gábor mentioned, I've been in the SAP space, in the HR space with SAP for over 20 years now. And then my responsibility at UKG is the overall alliance with SAP. So I work with Gábor and partners in Hungary, as mentioned. In short, you might wonder, what is UKG? It's the Ultimate Kronos Group, which is just a new name, a new brand, which was announced the 1st of October. So no shame if you don't know, because it's brand new, literally. It's only 6 weeks old. But the companies behind UKG have been around for over 40 years. Both Ultimate, which is an American company for core HR and payroll for the US, and of course Kronos, which is a worldwide brand, as you might know, for workforce management. I'm going to talk about it in a second. But both companies have been around for a very long time. We are both market leader in the space we are in. And just earlier this year in April, as the slide says, we announced a merger, an equal merger between both companies to join forces, basically. So the new name, very unique, is Ultimate Kronos Group. You can see the name and the logo on this slide. But bottom line, also for our strategy in EMEA and the purpose of this session, you're talking to Kronos, or former Kronos. And the solution we talk about is SAP Time Management by Kronos, which is the solution resold by SAP. So far about UKG. Former Kronos, as I mentioned, just to give you a kind of a footprint of who we are and what we do. And I think the fundamental reason behind the relationship we have with SAP and SuccessFactors globally is the fact that we are global leader in delivering workforce management solutions. We've been doing this for 40 years. We have global brands, and several are listed here on the slide, around the globe, also in Hungary, using our solutions today. And on the left, you see we're supporting millions of people on a day-to-day basis who are using our systems to track their time and get paid correctly by the end of the month. So I think that's a great start, a great source, a great reference we have already in the market worldwide, and a lot of users worldwide using our software already today. Just to give some more background onto this, retail is one of our key industries, and I'm sure I guess you pretty much know all the brands and the logos on this slide. I know Tesco is big in Hungary, and I guess for a lot of those companies, you might have people in Hungary working on local stores, for instance, or shared service centers for HR for many of those massive global brands. So you will not be the first. You will not be the first using UKG in your country. When we say workforce management, what exactly does it entail? And I guess most of you are looking at us from an HR perspective, so I try to focus it from that angle. Basically, we do all the activities here, all the processes listed here in the middle, which starts with time tracking, people coming in the morning, clocking in, clocking out for lunch, clocking in after lunch, clocking out at the end of the day. They're working on shift or schedules or anything, and so on. So I have to deal with all kind of legislation, time, overtime, and premiums to make sure they get paid correctly by the end of the month. So all activities around that process basically is what we cover in what we call workforce management. And I'll give some examples in a minute. But of course, we need master data input. We need to know who your employees are. We need employee records basically to track time against. And on the right side of the screen, to finally feed a payroll system or an external invoicing system if you're working with not your employees, but with a contingent workforce, for instance, from an agency. So as the slide shows, we have always to deal with two fundamental integrations, probably more. On the left side, we need to integrate with any core HR system. We have standard interfaces with the names and logos listed on the slide, but it can also be a third-party core HR system, or just a list with employees. We do all the processing in the middle. There we're dealing with web interfaces, mobile, tablets, any kind of device you can think of. Talked about it in a minute. And at the end, we need an integration with a or multiple payroll systems to basically feed the payroll based on the time recording we did. So we're going to focus now on the area in the middle. This is what UKG covers. Time and attendance, I guess it's known, but just to emphasize on it a bit more, give you an idea, how does it really look now for an employee? Here you see an example on the left of the dashboard for an employee with all the typical things he or she needs on a day-to-day basis. This is for a manager, where he has a great overview of overtime analysis for the team he's responsible for, reports to do, approvals to be done for time off requests or leave requests for people. So everything here to do is about time and attendance, tracking the time, approving exceptions, as the slide says, overtime allowances, and so on. So this is basically what we cover in what we call time and attendance. It's a very rich functionality, and we keep, of course, innovating this solution. I'll give some examples later on. A lot of the benefits we see, because a lot of customers do have TNA, time and attendance, in place today, whether it's in a very basic format using SAP on-premise, for instance, or any other tool, but a lot of people have a system in place, maybe with clocking terminals, so people can clock in or clock out or swipe, any kind of things. But the real advantage we can bring is that on top of just doing time and attendance, we offer very advanced scheduling functionality. Do you want all people to come in on a very basic schedule every day? Or can we optimize the schedule based on historical demand or based on artificial intelligence, I'll give some examples in a minute, to really optimize the schedule and only make sure we have the people when we really need them, and optimize schedules accordingly to serve clients or make sure we have the people there at the right time, at the right place. So this is everything covered in what we call advanced scheduling. There's all kind of possibilities to schedule people on shifts, give people the possibility to do shift swaps, for instance, which is a great item, I think, talking about employee engagements, giving employees a say, a meaning, and an input in the whole scheduling process. In a simple app, while they're at home, they can look at the schedule for the coming days. Say, hey, tomorrow evening I want to play soccer or watch maybe Champions League, I don't know. But I'd like to swap my shift with somebody else. And on the fly, on your phone, you can suggest to take another shift, or say, I prefer, it's a preference, not to do this shift, but do the Friday night shift, for instance, or Saturday night, whatever you like. So this whole interaction is completely automated in the system, and you can give all kind of privileges, basically, to the employees to give them a say in scheduling. If you think about retail-specific scheduling, I mentioned we have a lot of clients in retail using UKG today. We can also schedule based on historical demand. Hey, we know in the November timeframe in Budapest, in a store downtown in the center, it will be really busy on a Saturday afternoon. Or around Christmas, you can imagine it's going to be a big peak. Might be different now with COVID-19, but based on historical data, that's what I'm trying to say, we can make an estimate or projection of what the traffic, the footfall, the people physically walking in and out of your stores will be. So I think that's all very sophisticated stuff, how you can optimize a schedule. And you probably don't need all people in your store at 9 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, and you might not even need them at 6 a.m. when you're closing the store. So again, based on historical data, we can make a recommendation and an optimized schedule, and only make sure you have the people when you actually need them. And make sure you have enough people in the peak of the day, let it be a Saturday afternoon, so you can serve all your customers. Of course, this heavily depends on all the data we have. It depends on the products you sell, how much personal touch is needed in a store, in this example, to sell your products. But all those elements can be put into this scheduling solution and optimize the planning accordingly. Many of you might have heard about artificial intelligence, and UKG applies artificial intelligence to scheduling. And based on what I just said, is basically the same idea, but I think this brings it really to the next level, where we basically look at all the historical data and apply artificial intelligence to a schedule. Let me give you an example. I mean, if I would be an employee in a large company and 3 times on a row, I have rejected my Wednesday night shift, the 4th time, the system, not my manager, the system might not even schedule me anymore on a Wednesday evening, because likely, for whatever reasons, I do not prefer to work on Wednesday evening. So the system is learning, artificial intelligence is a learning idea based on the historical data on my behavior. And in this particular example, it will likely not schedule me anymore on a Wednesday evening, but maybe on a Thursday evening or Thursday morning instead, again, with all rules and restrictions we have to the schedule, and put me onto that schedule without any interaction with myself, without any interaction with my manager. The system is learning on the fly and applying an optimized schedule with the conditions who apply. We call it AMI, Artificial Intelligence for Managers and Employees. It's part of the solution, it's part of the suite. It's no additional functionality, but this is, I think, the next step. If you think about scheduling and advanced and optimized scheduling, don't do it on a manual Excel sheet, but use intelligence, use historical information without emotions in a very advanced way to optimize schedules. Of course, it comes with the whole rich functionality of analytics. All the data we collect gives you a lot of powerful data which you can analyze afterwards. Think about all the time recordings from employees, from teams. Think about how they track time against production orders or against activities or other equipment they've used during their work. So you can really have some good analysis on where exactly is my labor cost spent. That particular hours are spent on that project, on that production line, on that cost center, anything you like. And analytics, it's another module actually, gives you a lot of insights into that. It comes with a lot of predefined reports, but of course you can also develop your own. In short, without going more in product functions and features, I think, and we're absolutely convinced that workforce management gives you a great insight into your workforce. And it's actually the largest controllable expense you have probably in your organization. If you think about your employee pool of people, This is something where you can, I think, especially in those times with COVID-19, look at how you can optimize the whole workforce and then track time accordingly. Make sure you plan people accordingly. I think this is really what we are focused on with UKG. And everything I just mentioned, you can basically put into 4 pillars, if you will. It's either related to cost reduction, how can we optimize schedule, or typical in retail conversion rates. Of course, in everything I mentioned, you want to stay and be compliant. You know, you have your Hungarian labor law, you know, there's all legislation, or maybe industry specific agreements about shift times, about breaks people need to have in between shifts, about overtime premiums on a Saturday or Sunday night, all this type of details. This is typical what needs to be covered in our systems when we do all the scheduling, but also all calculations for payroll. And of course, last but not least, all the engagement with employees. I think it's a typical saying, I heard it several times during a lot of HR events, employee engagement. And for us, it's a very big topic because, you know, workforce management has many touch points with your employees. So think about, I gave you some examples, a very easy to use mobile device or app on your mobile device where people can look at their schedule, do a shift swap, do a leave request, look at their leave balance, and so on, look at their pay, anything you like. And I think Kronos gives you the platform with a very easy to use interface, which is very, I think, simple but powerful and intuitive for employees. We do a lot of our opportunities and discussions with clients based on return on investment, really trying to bring everything I just mentioned down to, okay, great, but what does it really drive for my organization? How much can I improve my revenue or increase my revenue? How much can I reduce my cost or my payroll cost by implementing your solutions? And nearly all cases, we managed to come back to a significant valuable business case. Based on all the clients you've seen on this slide, probably also for your organization, we can work with you in a kind of workshop format in coming up with a business case with a very efficient payback time of the overall solution. Let me take you to one example we recently did at a large luxury retailer. You can see some of the brands they serve in the upper right corner. It's a typical retail organization where they serve their customers through, I think, 600 stores, as it says, with over 6,000 employees in 12 countries. We did an exercise, we talked about the value UKG can bring. We spent 2 days with the client where they shared a lot of information with us about their environment. And we came, look at the chart in the right bottom corner, to significant improvements. So based on the calculations, based on their data, with their inputs, we calculated they could increase their annual value, the annual revenue basically in those stores with 1.7 million. Of course, the first year it comes with an investment on the implementation of UKG. There's a recurring cost on the cloud cost for the solution. But even then in the first year, there was already a positive return on investment. And of course, for year 2, 3, and 4, there's only the ongoing cost for the software once the implementation is done. So we had a very, very solid business case here. And this is just one of the many examples we could share in retail, but also in other industries. But this is the way how we approach opportunities with customers, to really talk about the strategy. Does it fit into your strategy? What are you using today for workforce management as a whole? And think about how can we build a business case, how we can improve your business and optimize your workforce based on hard ROI numbers. Where does this all fit in when we go back to Gábor's slide and SAP and SuccessFactors? Some of you might be familiar with SAP and SuccessFactors suite, so I'm not going on all the details, but here on this slide you see all the typical components of SuccessFactors on the left-hand side: recruiting, onboarding, human resources or core HR, the employee data, learning and compensation. And on the right side with the red circles, you see what UKG adds to the SAP portfolio. So everything I mentioned, basically time and attendance, forecasting, scheduling, and absence management are modules, and they are part of the SuccessFactors suite. I think that's really important, because what does it really mean for you as a customer? It's all integrated. That's the first thing. So there's a user interface integration, there's a backend integration. It's all on one contract, as the slide says. It's basically another module of SuccessFactors. The support process and the support mechanism, the tickets you could generate on UKG or SuccessFactors, or maybe you don't know, it's something in between, all go through the same process. So it makes it very seamless, I think, for a client to work in this way. So it's basically a part of the SuccessFactors suite, sold and supported by SAP. And as Gábor also mentioned, it's called SAP Time Management by Kronos. I think they keep the name by Kronos, although we moved into UKG now. We had this relationship for about 1.5 years now. It started in, I think, February last year, so it's almost 2 years now. And since then, we have a lot of clients, and you just see a subset of the logos on this slide in various industries who purchased actually UKG software through SAP and are currently in implementations, or a subset of those, I think about 11 or 12, are already live as well. So we're really moving forward. There's a lot of opportunity here in this space. And what's important, I think, regardless the industry you are in, whether you're in retail or hospitality or services, transportation, manufacturing, utilities, automotive, I think nearly in every organization we have a huge opportunity, or you have a huge opportunity to think how you could optimize workforce with time and attendance and scheduling. Another important part of our strategy when we go to market is our delivery. Great, this is a solution, we can sell it through SAP, but since we started the relationship with SAP, particularly in Europe, I'm absolutely convinced in order to be successful, we also need to ramp up local partners. Like SAP delivers their software to their local customers, working with and through local partners, we are doing exactly the same. We have our own Kronos UKG delivery team or services team, but since we started this whole partnership with SAP, we have enabled those partners, those local partners in the various countries. And for Hungary, I'm not sure if you know them, but BCS, Business Consulting Services, is one of our partners who are on the ground in Hungary. They know time management inside out. They have been trained on UKG. They can help you with demos and discussions. And maybe most important, they know time management and all the legislation and Hungarian specific legislation, rule, and so on. They know it better than anybody else. So for me, they are an absolutely great partner to have with us, working with SuccessFactors and SAP Hungary. This is for us a key partnership, to do workshops with clients, but in the end also to deliver our implementations. Just for the sake of time, to leave some time for questions or interactions. I think what I said earlier, I think I hope you got an overview, first of all, of who we are and what we do, what we deliver, and how we deliver it to customers in Hungary. And that from an employee engagement perspective, that workforce management as a theme, as a topic, has a lot of touch points with your employees, because they use it on a day-to-day basis, or even before they go to work. They might be at home on the couch and looking at their schedule, or doing a leave request or anything they like. So employee engagement, from an employee engagement perspective, I think workforce management is a very big topic. I hope you did, and if not, you could also ask yourself the question, okay, what are we in my company using today for workforce management? Are you using SAP on-premise, the old SAP environment, probably more for time and attendance than for scheduling? I'm still surprised that now we are almost in 2021, that how majority of the customers are still using Excel for scheduling. No advanced or optimized or even integrated scheduling. It's an offline manual based scheduling process with an Excel sheet. I think this is an area where a lot of business can be optimized and money can be saved. So think about it, what your company is doing today when it comes to scheduling. Do you have insights into actual labor cost? I'm sure you know the bottom line number each month on the payroll cost, but where actually is the money, the labor cost spent on which, look at the picture, production line, or which cost center, or and so on. So tracking all these details from your workforce gives you lots more insights in where the actual labor cost is spent. And a lot of customers are absolutely not using that to the full extent. And planning itself, as I mentioned, workforce planning, advanced planning, scheduling, and forecasting based on historical demand, based on much more inputs than you might have today, is definitely a way to go with artificial intelligence and all the advanced features we bring to the table. So I hope that get a kind of thinking process going, and we're more than happy to discuss this any further with you. Well, if there's any, and I'm not sure if the slides are available afterwards. But
yes, already, and also recording. So
perfect.
So you could also check out our availability right now or later. You can also reply in this presentation, and Andre and me are really happy to help you, providing you with more details later on. Just I encourage you to contact us later on. And
perfect.
Also maybe
I'm happy to stay on. My details are on the slides, which will be shared. It has been recorded, so can say it was a pleasure to talk to you all. I hope it was interesting and useful. And feel free to reach out to me or locally to Gábor in case you have any questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.